Hi, welcome again. Uh, I hope you are studying well and not wasting time. Just to take that this is an opportunity to study well. In my last lecture, we were talking about veterinary toxicology. Today, we shall discuss about wildlife toxicology. Wildlife toxicology is very important to toxicologists as well as to wildlife biologists. Wildlife toxicology, in my opinion, is wildlife ecotoxicology, where we talk of the ecosystem toxicity. In ecosystem toxicity, we do talk of wild animals. And these wild animals, not only the big animals like elephants or tigers, small animals, they are fish, birds, the insects, the marine animals, the dolphins, the whales, the salmon, the herring, the seagulls, the seabirds, and even the polar bear. All these problems, all these animals, they have been studied for toxicological issues. And if you ask me to define wildlife toxicology, I will simply say that it deals with wild animals, plants, and ecosystems as well. And the mission of wildlife toxicologist is to understand the entry, the transport, the effects, and the effects on reproduction, effects on other organs, effects on development. All these issues are related to wildlife toxicology. As with other subjects, we try to investigate what the history says about wildlife toxicology. History says that there are some very good examples. The recent example is death of how many? One point, it is not million, but it is billion. 1.25 billion animals died in Australia recently due to fires. The fires emitted carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and the result is that those animals died due to asphyxiation, due to suffocation. Wildlife, the Australian fires have affected 35,000 koalas, if I'm not wrong. Yes, 35,000 koalas and 700 species of plants, they have been vanished forever. I do not know how much time it will take to recover, to restore these ecosystems that have been destroyed by the fires. Similarly, the anthropogenic activities. There are some natural activities which affect the wildlife, and similarly, there are some anthropogenic activities that affect the wildlife. And in anthropogenic activity, it is the first thing is the pollution. The man created pollution. Pollution is affecting animals, pollution is affecting plants, pollution is affecting wildlife. In pollutants, we do talk of pesticides. Pesticides, they affect the population of birds. Raquel Carson discussed it at length. Similarly, we do talk of metals, that these metals, they entered. Minamata is a good example. The large number of fish died because of mercury poisoning. This is a very good example of because we include fish also. In United States of America, this is the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. They call it as Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. So fisheries is always included in wildlife. It is not something which is different. After World War II, salmon left Thames in London. Similarly, when pollution increased in Haridwar and other areas in Ganges, Mahashir, which is a sacred fish, Mahashir left Haridwar. Earlier, it used to be present in Haridwar, and then it left Haridwar. Mahashir fish is no more available in Haridwar or in Ganges now. It is available only in cold water lakes. It is available in Bhimtal and other Nokuchia Tal and other lakes in upper Himalayas. So water pollution, the worst example of water pollution and effect on wildlife is the accident of Exxon Valdez. Exxon Valdez was a ship. Exxon was the company, and Valdez is the place of the Valdez is the name of the ship. It met an accident with the coral reefs, and how many gallons of hydrocarbons they were leaked from this ship. Can you imagine the no, the hydrocarbons that leaked from this ship was one yeah 240,000 barrels. 240,000 barrels of crude oil leaked into the seashore in America, in California region, that is the Prince Williams uh, region. And the result was how many birds were just, they were overlapped, they covered by the film of oil, and the fish were covered by the film of the oil. The whales, they were dying because of the oil. The dolphins, they were dying because of the oil. So this all has happened in the past, and this is the worst example that we can quote about wildlife toxicology that affect the marine life. 300 seals died. Seal, it is again a marine mammal. 250 bald eagles, the birds that eat upon the seagulls and the seabirds, they died. 22 killer whales died in all. 40% of the sea otters, they died, and the large tons and tons of salmon and herrings, they were killed by this Exxon Valdez episode. So this is one example. There are many other examples. I'll be quoting you very soon. I'll be giving you those examples also. That the polar bear was found to contain, the whales were found to contain plastics. The polar bear was found to contain the DDT and other dangerous chemicals. They were present in them. So why a fish? There is another very important phenomenon which we call it as a fish kill, and the fish kill is due to algal blooms, due to hypoxia, due to presence of chemicals, due to the eutrophication process. So wildlife toxicology brings together the wildlife ecologist as well. Those ecologists, wildlife biologists, and field ecologists, they work and they find it that, oh yes, it is the problem. Now I discuss some Indian examples. People said where the vultures have gone. It created a social problem among Parsis, because Parsis, they do not cremate their dead bodies. They keep their bodies on specially meant buildings, and the vultures come and eat the body. They clean it, and they put some sort of you see deodorants and sands and all these things on the body, and the animals come and eat. But when these vultures are dying, or their number is decreasing, how those people will be eaten up? Their bodies will be eaten. It created a social problem among Parsis in Bombay. Center for Science and Environment made a study, and that study, it was found out that these animals are dying because of oxytocin, and the oxytocin is coming from the dead animals, because the oxytocin is being used by the farmers. They inject oxytocin into buffaloes and cows to get higher amount of milk, and when these cows and buffaloes, they die, the result is when the vultures eat them, and the chemical, the oxytocin, enters into their body. It changes into a metabolite. It has been called as diphenolac, and the diphenolac causes the vultures to die. And they found, wildlife biologists in India, the Bombay Natural History Society in Bombay, they found out that they put their nag in between their two legs and they die. So that was a Indian example. The second example, Indian example of wildlife toxicology, is why the people. It was reported in the newspapers that the crocodiles are dying. Why the crocodiles in River Chambal, which is supposed to be a very clean river? I have passed through that river many times while going to Jhansi, and I found that, oh yes, it's a very good river, very clean river. Then why the vultures are dying in the river? The vultures are dying, sorry, the crocodiles are dying because of the chromium. And from where the chromium is coming? Chromium is coming from Agra tanneries entering into river Chambal and killing the juveniles. So it was found out by the scientists of Indian Veterinary Research Institute in Bareilly. They went there, they brought the crocodiles to their labs and found out that they possessed a higher amount of the chromium in their tissues, in their body. And they were dying, killing the juveniles, which were small, 1 feet or 1.5 feet babies of the crocodiles. The larger crocodiles were able to tolerate it. Dose response relationship was there. And the crocodiles, the mature, the adult crocodiles, they were maintaining, whereas the young crocodiles were dying. Where all the frogs have gone, such type of things are there. Where all the Mahashir have gone, I just discussed with you that the Mahashir used to be present in Haridwar waters in Ganges, and now it is not there. So they migrated. Salmon migrated from Thames and went somewhere else. There have been some very good examples. And there was a news. The polar bear is dying, is poisoned by pesticides. And this was Center for Biological Diversity put a note of it that the polar bears are dying because of the use of the pesticides. EPA found it. EPA made this study, and they found it that these pesticides, they travel long distances through atmosphere, oceanic and biotic pathways to Arctic. And such pesticides are biomagnification, or eco-magnification. And with each step higher in food web, reaching some of their greatest concentration in polar bears, the apex indicators of the Arctic. You can see how a small thing. Somebody reported 85 pounds of plastic in the body of a whale which died. So these pesticides are present in the polar bear also. You can imagine where the farmer is using the pesticide, and the pesticide is going to polar bears. So such type of examples are before us. Now, how to make a critical study of this wildlife toxicology? For this, we will have to make our strategies. And one of the important strategy is to plan a survey, to find out whether they are affecting their breeding behavior, whether they are affecting their reproductive system, or they are affecting their developmental, and they are causing developmental changes. And like this, there is very good example why the number of the birds is decreasing. Number of the birds is decreasing because of the presence of the pesticide. DDT is changing into DDE, and that DDE is responsible for causing the egg shell thinning. The egg is having the calcareous shell or the egg shell, and the calcium which is required to cover the egg is not provided by the ovaries. And the result is the eggshell becomes thin, and that eggshell thinning is responsible for, as soon as the egg hatches, it breaks down, and the result is the animal is dead, the chicken is dead, the turkey is dead, the Passer domesticus gorilla is dead, no more. So therefore, this is the reason of the decline in birds, decline in the avian population. Then there are some pelicans and herons in wild, they are also dying. And the main, you see, if you make a systematic study, you find the food chain is responsible. In food chain, we introduce the pesticide in plankton. From plankton, it goes to fish. From fish, it goes to the bird. And from seagulls, it goes to herons. And from herons, it goes to eagles. Or from herons, or from fish, it goes to the baleen whale. And from baleen whale, it goes nowhere else. The baleen whale dies. Exxon Valdez kills 250 whales after the accident. So similarly, the polyaromatic hydrocarbons, the petroleum products, they are responsible for this decline of the wildlife. These are some of the very good examples that tell us that no, it's not only the human beings, they are being affected by these chemicals. The domesticate, the animals which have not been domesticated, which are feral, which are present as such in the wild, which are present in forest, which are present in marine waters, freshwater waters, even in the high altitudes, the Himalayas and other places, they are affected by these chemicals. So this in whole, this becomes a subject of wildlife toxicology. This is first lecture in wildlife toxicology. I shall discuss more in my second lecture on wildlife toxicology. Please let me know if you are able to get the idea of the subject through my lectures or not. If you are getting it, so okay, I can continue. If you are not getting it, I can stop it. So take good care of yourself, study properly. We shall meet again on the video. Thank you.